Hello, hello. It's all happening. I'm Colette, and basically, I got on here because I want to talk about imposter syndrome. I feel like it's so prevalent in my life, and I know damn well it's prevalent in other people's lives. So, Loki wanted to talk about it. So, I was getting ready today, and I had this huge presentation for a job that I think I'm qualified for, and I think I have all the skills for, a job I've been in for 3 years. But I put on my dress. I don't wear dresses. I wear thrifted jeans with holes in them type shit. So for me to put on the dress was thrifted too. I literally thrift everything. But I put that dress on and I was like, I don't know who this is. Who is this? Like, who are you? You are a 16-year-old cosplaying as some successful 21 and a half year old, 22-year-old. That's like literally how I felt when I looked in the mirror. I was like, who are you? Like, actually, who are you? And it freaked me out. I was like, I just feel like this isn't right. This isn't on brand. And that's like a thing I've been trying to get out of my mind is my brand is my brand. It doesn't have to coincide with anybody else's brand. I'm like sitting here and I'm like, I'm a hippie, like I'm a punk, I shouldn't be so professional and corporate. And then I was like, it's your life, man. Like, it's literally your life. Who decided you were just going along with everybody, which is the least punk thing you could do? The most punk thing you could do is be a punk that also maybe she wants, like, a corporate job. I don't want a corporate job, but stick it, throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. You know what I'm saying? So, I was, I did the interview. I think it went really well. I'm not gonna say anything more because I'm scared I'm gonna, like, I'm gonna jinx myself if I keep saying more. But I was listening to the song after all of that, after all of the interview process, just thinking about my future. And I just switched from social work to mass media, which is a crazy switch. I'm a junior too, so I've gone through all of the social work classes except for my senior year. And I said, fuck it. Fuck it. Leap of faith, throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. And I just feel like things find you at a certain time. I fully believe it fully because there's a song. I'm a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. I am not sorry about it, okay? And there's a song called Someday I Will by Jimmy Buffett, and I've heard it so many times, probably like hundreds of times. But today, it hit like a ton of bricks. I started crying. It was just that beautiful. So let me read the parts that I was thinking about. So my leap of faith to mass media, I have no thoughts about what I really want to do specifically. I have a ton of interests in that umbrella because there's so much you can do with a mass media degree, like so much. I just know, like, I like music, I like to interview, I like to talk, and I completely enjoy it. I love creative freedom and I like to lead people into success, you know what I'm saying? So I was reading this and it says, I say someday I will. I don't have a plan. It's not that kind of thing. I don't have a dream. It's just sometimes I know that's the way I'm supposed to go. Guys, you're kidding. Because I know nothing. I have no plan. I have no plan. I have dreams, but I don't have any thought process of how to execute anything really. I just know that this is right. This is the way I'm supposed to go. I just know that's the way I'm supposed to go. So for me to find that song just felt really divine. It made me cry. And then later in the song, it gets a little better. Like, how could it get better than that? But it does. It says, someday I will. So whatever thrills you, anything you love to do, just say someday I will. You don't need to know who may help you make it come true. Just say someday I will. You don't have to work it all out. You don't have to tear it all apart. All you need is a place to start. And if it's never worked before, try it just once more. That's what your heart is for. Whether it's big or small, if you have a passion at all, just say someday I will. So if you can guess what the song name is, it's Someday I Will by Jimmy Buffett. But, like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like that, it's just, when something is literally aligned for you, like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do, but I just feel that it's right, and I knew it was right, and I knew it was what I needed to do. So I did it, and I took a leap of faith, and it was terrifying. But back to the whole, like, it's not on brand. Like, me dressing up and being professional isn't on brand. Yeah, okay, it's not on brand for 16-year-old Colette, and guess what? You're not 16 anymore. Even if I feel like it. I feel like it every day. And being in your 20s, I'm like, I sit here and I'm like, I know nothing. I thought I knew everything. How naive of me to think I knew everything. But, like, at 18, I was like, this all makes sense. This only makes sense. Yeah. And then I get here, and I'm 21, I don't know anything. Everything I thought I knew, I've been proved that I don't know. I don't know. So now I feel like I'm building all my everything back up from the bottom, because I realized that everything I thought I knew isn't what I knew. And I don't know how else to explain it other than that. If you relate, please let me know, because it's like I'm relearning everything, and I'm like learning to release expectation about honestly anything, because I learned, it's kind of fucked up, but I learned like expectation leads to disappointment. And that doesn't mean to not have goals, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course I have goals, I have dreams that I want to reach and I really care about reaching, but I'm not going to have a single expectation about how any of that is going to work out, because I don't want to get crushed, you know? I want to be able to carry on, and I feel like if I have expectations about things, about the way things are supposed to go, it's not ever really going to work out the way you think it's supposed to work out. And I'm learning that so hard right now. Like, just learning it in every single way. I could have never guessed I would be where I am with the people I'm with and the things I'm in. I could have never guessed in a million years. Like, even last year, I could have never guessed I'd be where I am today. And I could, like, cry about it. Don't make me cry. But getting back to imposter syndrome, I returned to the Catholic Church, okay? Which is kind of crazy to me. Once again, I was like, this isn't aligned with my brand. The fuck are you talking about? This isn't me. If it isn't you, then why are you there? If it isn't you, then why is it being given to you? You know what I'm saying? So there was this summer, it was last summer, and I didn't know why I felt such a need to be here in my college town for the summertime, because my hometown is like the summer town. There's like 3 lakes, like boats, beaches, like anything you would ever want, just little like hole in the wall ice cream shops that are family owned. Like, it's just the perfect beach summer place to be. And I decided to stay in my college town instead of going home to that beautiful like beachy area. And I was like regretting it in hindsight, because it didn't go well. It didn't go the way I thought it would, because I broke up with like my boyfriend and a bunch of stuff. But I realized I was meant to stay there for one thing, and it was to go back to church. Believe it or not, I wouldn't be back at church if I wasn't there for the summer. And the reason I was in my college town for the summer is because I failed a drug test. I failed a drug test. I'm 21, but failed a drug test, so I didn't get to work the job I wanted to work. And I was really upset about it. I was like, I know nothing. Like, I don't know any way this is going to work out. I'm releasing all expectation completely, because I don't know what to expect anymore. Everything is unknown. And I was like, well, let's just keep on trucking, if you know. And I did. And I ended up calling my grandma so many times because I was so far from home. And usually I see my grandma in the summertime. So I was like, well, why don't I give my grandma a call? And I was like, Grandma, I'm kind of thinking I might go back to the Catholic Church. And it had been 7 years. I got confirmed at 15, and I'm 21 now, so it's about 6 years. but I stopped going regularly probably when I was 13. I stopped going to church regularly, so it had been almost 8 years since I had been to church regularly, even though I am confirmed Catholic. So I was scared. I was like, this just doesn't, I just feel so drawn to it. Kind of like I did with my major change. I feel so drawn to it and I have no idea why. And it's like it's a magical story. I'm like, I don't know. It's a really good story. Let me get into it. Um, I love this song. Wait, can we pause before we get I don't know if you could tell. I got ADHD. I'm everywhere all the time, but this this song is incredible. So, it's called Cowboy in the Jungle. Guess who is by? Guess who it's by? Sorry. Sorry. So Cowboy in the Jungle. A cowboy isn't supposed to be in the jungle. Dude, everything connects. Everything connects, dude. It's this song is about feeling out of place in a place that you're supposed to be. You know? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? This is literal like imposter syndrome as a song. Like so uh let me find the specific part. Okay. I love this part. Uh, I don't want to swim in a roped off sea. That's too much for me, too much for me. I gotta be where the wind and the water are free. And that is how I feel about everything right now. I'm like, I need to be free to choose my path, to choose the things I love. And I finally get to. And then it says, alone on a midnight passage, I can count the falling stars, while the Southern Cross and the satellites, they remind me of where we are. Spinning around in circles, living it day to day. Still 24 hours, maybe 60 good years. It's not that long a stay. It's really not that long a stay, so we've got to roll with the punches, learn to play all of our hunches. You see, make the best of whatever comes your way. Forget that blind ambition and learn to trust your intuition. Plowing straight ahead, come what may. And there's a cowboy in the jungle. Like, I have chills. It makes my heart feel weird in a good way. So I just feel like things are just being divinely sent to me. And let's get into the whole church journey. I went back to the Catholic Church because my grandma was like, I bet there's a Newman Center down there. And I'm like, what's a Newman Center? And she was like, it's basically college Catholic. I'm like, college Catholic? That sounds great. Me. That's literally me. So it's so magic, guys. It's really magic. So hadn't been in 8 years. I look it up and I'm like, oh, it's down the street. It's down the street. Maybe I'll go this Sunday. So I do. And I looked at the wrong schedule. I looked at the school schedule instead of the summer schedule. So I assumed that there was 5 p.m. Mass. So I go for 5 p.m. Mass. And I walk in. And he's like, oh, there's no Mass today. I'm like, oh, dang. And she was like, but you could go in there and pray. I was like, me? Me, Colette? Go in there to pray. You're funny. You're funny. You're funny. But I did. And it was magic. I feel like it worked out the exact way it was meant to happen. I walked in there and instantly, the second I walked in, I'm not a crier like that. I cry usually sad things or things that really hit close to home. I never thought I would walk into a church and start crying. I was the only person in that church. I walk in and just start crying, bro. And I don't know why. And it just felt like I was getting a huge warm hug. I had never been in there before. And I just sit down and I look around and I'm like, this is cool. I feel very peaceful here. I felt very, very at peace. So I did exactly what I thought I should do. I kneeled and I prayed. And it was so anxiety inducing, but it's there was a good plan. it was almost like it was divine for me to go there and not go straight into like church, like a full service. So I didn't. I got like acclimatized to being back at the church. And so I was like, okay, let's try again next week at the normal time when church actually is. And I went to confession for the first time because my good friend Ellie told me, like, you gotta go to confession before you can have the Eucharist. So I was like, okay. I walked into confession for the first time in 8 years, and I was terrified. I have had such bad experiences at the Catholic Church, which is why I left for so long. Just really unempathetic priests and just like moms that were on a power trip because they were teaching religious ed. I'm like, girl, like I was told if I pierced anything other than my ears, I was going to hell and I was hurting God. I was told that if you eat anything before church, God doesn't want you there. He doesn't want you at church if you ate before. So don't come. If you chew gum during church, we don't want you here. Leave. If you wear jeans, I don't care. They even said, they're like, I don't care that it's Super Bowl Sunday. You shouldn't be wearing jeans to church. I'm like, can you just be happy I'm here? So that was my old church, not this church. My new church, it's just unreal. I love it so much. It's called the John Paul II Catholic Newman Center. Shout out. Love it. So I go into confession and I don't know what to say. I felt brand new. I just walk in, I'm like, I'm brand new. I haven't been here in 8 years and I'm scared. But I'm ready. Like, what? But I don't know what to do. Like, I have my sins written down. Like, I can say them, but I don't know what to do. And this is the first time I met my priest, Father Lucas. God bless Father Lucas, bro. He said, well, let's take a second to sit here and welcome you back. Like, let's celebrate this homecoming. And I was like, he's so kind. And I, like, have told priests things, and they'd be like, why are you this? Why are you that? Like, why do you do this? Like, don't you know you're hurting God? I'm like, well, yeah, like, I don't want to be doing these things. That's why I'm confessing them. But this guy takes it all and just puts it into context of, like, he's dealing with a bunch of college students. So he was just very kind. He had me do the Amani Christi thing for my penance. That prayer is a really beautiful prayer. It just, like, changed my life. And I'm gonna, like, hopefully talk about other, like, like homilies that have meant things to me, prayers that have meant things to me, which is so crazy to say because I've never been religious like this in my life. Like, maybe as, like, a younger kid at, like, 8, but being an adult and having, like, awareness of values and stuff. Like, I feel very aware of who I am and what I want to do. Not completely, obviously, because I'm 21. I have no idea what I'm doing, but it makes me feel like I know the kind of person I want to be, at least. Like, that's the one thing I have control over is who I am as a person, how I present myself, and how I treat people. I don't have control over anything other than that. So it's nice to, like, have a weekly moment where I sit and I think about how I've been as a person, how I've treated people, and how I can improve in that. I think that's beautiful. So that was my homecoming to the Catholic Church, and every single time I leave the church, I get a sign, trust me, every single time. I think I walked out of that first mass back, I walked out and there was a beautiful, breathtaking rainbow, just incredible rainbow. I literally gasped when I walked outside. I was like, oh, wow, I love nature, bro. I love rainbows. I've walked out of church and there's just the most stunning sunset you've ever seen in your life. And then I've walked out and seen beautiful, like, butterflies flapping on the church, and butterflies, like, I have a tattoo of a butterfly. Like, butterflies are my thing, And then the third or fourth sign I have is hawks. Every time I see a hawk, I know, like, things are gonna be okay. Like, I don't know how to describe it. There's a little analogy I know about, like, I think I said this in another video. Like, crows ambush hawks and eagles, and they don't fight back. They just fly higher because they know that the crows cannot reach the same altitude as them. Like, why waste energy fighting someone back when you can just literally rise above them? Big life lesson there. I'm like, I just feel like I've learned a lot, but I know nothing. But, oh, he said, I'm listening to music. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It says, just trying to make a little sense of it all. And that's exactly what it is. Trying to make a little sense of it all, man. But yeah, Catholic Church saved my life. It changed my life. And in many moments of darkness and sadness, I know where to turn. And I've never had that before. I've never, like, you know, I've had friends to turn to. I've had these things and those things, but to return somewhere where I feel so grounded, to have a place to return to get grounded, is something that I couldn't trade for the world. And it's kind of awesome. But going back to imposter syndrome again, I've said that like 5 times. I would be like, me going to church doesn't seem right. That's not me. It's not who I've been. But the whole thing is to change and to improve and get better and better. Am I just going to stand here and be stagnant? When I have an inkling to do something, I'm going to do it. You know, I had an inkling to change my major, so I did it. I threw it at the wall and see if it sticks. And then same with going back to church. I didn't know that it was meant for me, and it totally is. And how are you going to find it out unless you go out and you do it yourself? And I just, like, want to say, like, if you're a hippie, if you're a punk, if you're Gen Z, like, and you're thinking about, maybe I'll go back to the church, do it. Literally do it. Because I went back and, you know, I've shown up hungover. I've shown up in my sweatpants. The people there are just happy I'm there. They're happy that I'm there to join them and sing with them and listen to the scripture together. Nobody there was judgmental. It's like it's like finding the right therapist. You got to find the right church for you. And maybe it took me 21 years to find it, but I did. And that's something that can't be dismissed, you know? So if you are alternative in any way, you don't think you fit the mold or whatever of Catholicism or religiousness, like, that isn't true. I mean, like, look at fucking George Harrison. He went to India and learned all about their culture and all about their religious beliefs. He might have felt like a cowboy in a jungle, you know? Like, oh, I don't belong here. Like, this just doesn't seem right to me. But it helps you grow when you feel like, when you're, like, super unsure about something, but you do it anyway. It helps you grow so much. I just wanted to talk about that. Like, I'm just in a constant moment of throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. And it almost always does. And I'm really excited to see how this promotion turns out for me. I hope I get it. If I do, I will be in charge of all of the DJs on air in my college radio station, award-winning collegiate radio station. The best in the country, too. So it's big deal if I get that. But yeah, just who cares if something's your brand? You make your own brand. Just because some other hippies aren't going to church or some other hippies aren't wearing nice clothes for a nice presentation, that doesn't mean you're any less than who you think you are. You are just a different side. It's a different side of who you are that will create you to be an even better you and an even more multifaceted person that understands every other thing, you know? Obviously, you can't understand everything, but it'll help you understand more. I don't know. I just really like my life right now, and I wanted to share that. And I wanted to share the little nuggets of things that I've learned at fucking 21. I feel like I'm relearning everything, and you know something? That's okay. I have been writing down every day. I have this checklist of where I write my whole entire day, and I right? Release expectation and embrace uncertainty. And if I could give anybody in their 20s advice, or like 19-year-olds, like, embrace uncertainty. It's almost the only certainty is that uncertainty will come back. It's things are always going to be uncertain, and you have to learn how to ride the wave. That's something I learned in therapy, ride the wave. Like, you don't have to fix everything. You don't have to know everything that's going to happen. You're never going to know that. So why stress about it? There's nothing you can do to make, unless there is, sometimes there is, but there's really nothing you can do to make things feel more certain or to know the way things are going to plan out. And how beautiful is that? That you don't know how things are going to pan out. Like Garth Brooks said in The Dance, what did he say? Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I would have had to miss the dance. Like, if I knew the way it all panned out, I wouldn't have wanted to do that. But our lives are better left to chance, because everyone has a meaning in your life, I think, 100%. Like, everybody has a meaning and a place in your life, even if it's for 2 weeks, I think everyone is meant to come to you for a reason and phase out for a reason. And it's beautiful. Uncertainty is beautiful. And that's what I've realized, is to embrace the uncertainty, because that's what life is. And life is better left up to chance. That's basically all I wanted to say. Basically as if it wasn't 26 minutes. Anyway, talk soon.